So due to a previous error that we will not rename, I did zero homework on this one.
Well, I'm going to pay you back because I did no homework on the supplement B4.
Supplements,
Not a vitamin. So, yeah, again, it's a same shirt Tuesday because Jerry's going on vacation. But, vitamin B7. You ready for this one?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. So, vitamin B7, also known as biotin, also known as, you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Vitamin H.
All right, that just blew my mind. How can BBH?
Well, I didn't dig deep into that. My assumption is that, it started out as B and then became B complex and then B4 became Pluto. And it sounds like either these are similar or they're about to kick B7 out and declassify it. I don't know the answer.
This is a step before declassification.
Step before. This is the planet right after Uranus.
Oh, yay. The hits keep coming today. Boom,
right?
boom, boom.
So why do we need biotin/vitamin H/B7?
I don't know.
Gluconeogenesis.
That's a $4 word right there.
Well, similar to B6, it's glucose formation.
Okay.
So think about the Inuits or other people, carnivore diet, where they're not consuming
They're
sugars.
consuming all fats.
The body still
Needs
produces what it requires.
Okay.
And B7 is critical to that. Breakdown of, help me remember what this is, BCAAs, blockchain amino acids, right? It's the first time I've heard about it in supplements, mainly I think like protein shakes and stuff with added BCAAs, but I did a quick deep dive. It's muscle development, right? You have to have blockchain amino acids, acids to create muscle. Then the last one is fatty acid synthesis, hair, nails, skin. In fact, problems with hair, nails, and skin is a big sign that you might be deficient, right?
Okay.
So to that point, signs that you might be deficient. Again, we go back to brain function, lethargy, depression, hallucinations. That's a big one, right? Numbness and tingling. We've heard that one before with other bees. Hypotonia.
What's that?
Low muscle tone. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Right? Blockchain amino acids, muscle development. Low muscle tone, therefore, would be a sign of deficiency. Ataxia. ATAXIA.
Okay.
Can you figure it out? Are you going back to your college days and figuring out the Latin root and the Greek root and the...
I got nothing.
You got nothing. You were a finance major anyway. So ataxia is muscle coordination, but not in the way we might think of. Like when I think of coordination, I think, he's good at sports or, But this is speech, how you walk, your gait. GAIT.
That's wrong. That's what's wrong with my running. I got
possibly
ataxia.
you low on B7, buddy.
Right.
So seizures and developmental delays, mainly in kids, right? Because if you're an underdeveloped adult, there's other words for that.
Right.
But, I found it interesting that it goes from brain to muscle to, what would you consider seizures and development delays? I guess that's pointing back to brain at some level.
Yeah.
Right. So very similar to everything we know about all of the others. How do you get B7 naturally? Right. Go ahead. Try.
Fat. Beef.
Okay. Meat.
Chicken.
Poultry.
Pork.
I didn't have pork. Fatty fish.
Fatty fish.
Eggs.
Well, yeah, you mentioned the Inuit, and obviously they didn't have any of the sugars or the vegetables, so it's all coming from
meat, poultry,
and fish.
Like, what is whale? That's mammal, isn't it?
Yeah.
So does that fall into meat?
It's a meat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a fatty fish is my point.
So if you're going to turn this stuff into fat into glucose, then you've got to have.
Which happens in the liver. That's where we metabolize.
And we got an amazing body.
So quick sidebar, not part of my homework. It just reminds me of a story. So everyone knows my oldest kid is type 1 diabetic. And we asked his doctor a long time ago. We were concerned about him possibly going low. This is before the day and age of the pump, which has simplified this a lot. But we would sit him down to eat, and we'd calculate the carbs on the plate and give him a shot 10 minutes beforehand, right?
Okay.
Well, think of a 4-year-old, 5-year-old, 6-year-old. Sometimes they sit down, they don't want to eat, right? And we start going, oh my gosh, we've given enough insulin for this many carbs. What happened if he goes critically low? And our doctor said, while it can be dangerous, that the body has a safeguard where if it gets too low in sugar, the liver will literally do a sugar dump into a diabetic to keep them alive. I never researched it. I just remember the story.
That's so interesting.
Right. So the liver metabolizes sugars in other ways, stores it. And
so the whole reason for insulin is to prevent the glucose from going too high.
Well, it's more than that. It's so you can actually burn it.
Okay. So
right.
You can actually burn it. But
otherwise,
if you didn't burn it, it would go too high.
It remains in the bloodstream.
Okay. But equally important is it going too low, but the body said, all right, I got you on this one.
Right. Right. Because at the end of the day, the body does burn on energy, and there's two forms of that we know, which is sugars or fats. And the question I guess we're starting to circle around to here is the body metabolizing the fat into the proper energy source for the brain. So anyways, I'm sorry for the sidebar, but I do remember that, and at the time I not that I'm any smarter now, but I was too dumb to kind of bookmark that and go back and research it. I can't even remember if it's his current doctor. He went through about 3 pediatric endocrinologists before we found one that we really liked. And I can't remember which one told me, but yeah, the liver, if that's accurate, stores sugars and has the potential to dump. Think of a ultra marathoner, right? They can't metabolize goo chomps fast enough for their energy burn. The body is literally manufacturing it. And it looks like vitamin B7 is important to that. So maybe instead of goo chomps, choke down some eggs and fatty fish and some whale like the Inuits did before you go on your marathon. Right.
Gosh, man.
So one other, the regular one's dairy. We haven't heard it a lot, but we expect it, spinach. But the last one, similar to B6 with potatoes, my sources, B7 you can get from rice.
So rice.
Probably better for you. I mean, I would imagine any natural rice as opposed to, the bleached and the processed uncle whatever. He's not even allowed to be called. He's not even called that anymore. No. That's a shame.
Yep.
So, all right. That's what I know on biotin.
Man, good job.
Vitamin H.
You got my brain thinking, I'm sorry I didn't add too much. My brain already went somewhere else. I was like, how do you reverse engineer diabetes? That's what I was going through my head as soon as you started mentioning that whole process. And I'm like, all right, if the liver can dump, why couldn't the liver regulate? I don't know.
Well, yeah, I mean, the science answer to that is that the regulatory mechanism is insulin, which is created by the pancreas.
Right.
And his doesn't work, And we went through all of those emotions, right? I had always associated diabetes with poor diet, poor lifestyle, and he gets diagnosed at 2 years old. And
yeah, never even had a chance.
The initial reaction is, what have I done to my kid?
Right.
But it turns out they're very type 2. You can, in large part, especially with an early diagnosis, you can reverse. I would argue doctors probably disagree because they, in my estimation, just like to treat with pharma. I think that even someone deep into type 2 could probably still reverse with a ketogenic or carnivore diet.
Yep.
But type 1 is
pancreas
the body's failure. It's not. Type 2 is kind of you beat the pancreas up for 30 years.
Right.
And
type 1, have they, not to go completely off topic here, but on type 1, are they viewing this as genetic type of defect?
You know something, man? This is my opinion. I don't think they like to talk about it much. I tried to drive conversation like that with my son's doctor, and I would say he deflected, and my guess in large part is there's two main factors going on: processed food in a westernized diet, and don't shoot the messenger, vaccines.
I was going almost with both of those, right? Mom's diet while being pregnant.
Sure.
And vaccines.
Yeah.
That's where my brain went. Is this a defect or is this self-inflict?
Yeah. And I would argue, to your point about a mother's behavior during pregnancy.
I'm not, don't shoot me, Kelly. I'm not.
No. I don't think that was it for us, because my wife was very in front of everything.
Right.
But for the kids whose mom, did stuff we know, smoking, drinking, drugs, there's no telling what that does to a fetus.
Right.
And a fetal development. And I don't think anyone's ever going to really study it, because no money in it. So anyways, off of my soapbox.
Well, you've had a lot of history with this one.
So yeah, he's for the audience, he is 19 now. He's the one that's headed off to Florida Gulf Coast. He's doing great, living the dream. Frankly, I wish I were him.
Strapping young man, strapping.
So questions, comments, concerns, hit us at snackcast@yes.fit.
Stay moving.
See ya.